Let's bring in now Julia Manchester, politics reporter with The Hill, to break down what we should be watching for as primary season gets into full swing. Julia, nice to see you. Always good to have you here. Which races are you going to be watching on the Republican side first?
Yeah, so on the Republican side, I think going forward, we should definitely keep an eye on Pennsylvania and Georgia. We are seeing very contentious gubernatorial primaries and Senate primaries in those states. In Pennsylvania, yet another test for President Trump's endorsement. You have former television Dr. Mehmet Oz going against David McCormick. Now we know Mehmet Oz has President Trump's endorsement. President Trump was recently in Pennsylvania campaigning for Oz, so that's something we're going to watch. And then down in Georgia, of course, there is that gubernatorial race where we have former Georgia Senator David Perdue challenging Georgia Governor Brian Kemp. Now, President Trump has thrown his weight and his support behind David Perdue. However, Brian Kemp seems to really have that incumbents advantage, really leading Perdue in fundraising and polling.
And what about the Democratic side? Oregon is a really interesting one to watch, especially given the Roe v. Wade bombshell.
Oregon definitely has some very interesting House races. We have incumbent Congressman Kurt Schrader, who is up for re-election, and he's being primaried from the left by a progressive primary challenger. And obviously, Republicans and the National Republican Congressional Campaign Committee are very much targeting his seat as well. So that's one absolutely to watch. But also in Texas, there is a runoff race happening in the 28th Congressional District. Incumbent Congressman Henry Cuellar is up for re-election. He's going up against Jessica Cisneros, who has challenged him before and has come very close to actually ousting him. That runoff will take place later this month. And Henry Cuellar is actually considered one of the last pro-life or anti-abortion Democrats in the House. So that question of choice and women's health and abortion is really playing in that race. So a couple different House districts to watch, and Senate races really, where this issue of that leaked draft memo of that decision on Roe v. Wade is really impacting the campaign messaging.
And how about President Biden? I mean, he's seen better days in terms of his popularity, his numbers right now. Why are these races so important for him personally?
They're important for him, and they would be important for any first-term president at this point, because it's essentially a referendum on his first term in office. However, I will add this caveat. Normally for a first-term president, his or her first midterm election normally sees a decline in their party seats. So in 2018, that was a bad year for Republicans. That was President Trump's first term in office. So right now, what you're going to see is Biden and Democrats really trying to turn up the heat for a lot of their candidates in these districts. I think the issue is, though, in terms of the agenda, the Biden administration, they have continued to tout, and House Democrats and Senate Democrats as well, they've continued to tout the passage of the American Rescue Plan, that bipartisan infrastructure plan. However, we haven't seen them do that much on Capitol Hill. Besides that, we know that Build Back Better agenda failed due to Senator Joe Manchin, a Democrat, and the issue of voting rights hasn't really gone anywhere under the Biden administration and Democratic leadership. So I think there is going to be a scramble so Democrats can talk about something new and fresh on the campaign trail.
Well, what about the memo? I mean, is that going to galvanize Democrats who otherwise maybe were a little bit complacent?
I think that's a question that a lot of Democrats, Republicans, and independents are asking. Talking to some Republicans, it's a mixed bag. Some say that, look, this could galvanize Democrats as well as maybe some suburban voters, suburban female voters for debate, who have really tipped the scales over the past couple of elections. It's yet to be seen how this plays with them. But at the same time, other Republicans say, look, Americans really feel this issue of inflation in their pocketbooks. So, they say, look, maybe the tried and true, faithful, pro-choice Democrats and the anti-abortion Republicans and conservatives, they will absolutely be galvanized, but they question what impact that memo or that decision will have for these swing voters. So that's what we're asking. But some of these primaries, if we look at them in terms of turnout on the Democratic side, could give us a signal. If we see high turnout, maybe that's a sign that the base is in fact galvanized.
All right. Well, I know you will be informing us the entire time. Julia, thank you. Good to see you tonight.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Click the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.